So here we have Chaga, and we are just in Lowe's. This whole video is going to kind of be a good overview of how some of these desensitizing trips go. So in it we work a lot on our leash skills, general obedience like sit, down, wait, stay, things like that. We also expose the dogs to things like home appliances, shovels, lawnmowers, paper towel dropping, anything that we can think of that is in your house that is going to make noise or that the dog may potentially be startled by, we like to introduce them to. So as you can see here, we're just working a little on our leash skills. Anytime she goes and puts tension on the leash by pulling ahead, I will do either one of two things. I will either get her attention and tell her this way and change direction and reward when there's that slack in that leash, or I will lure her back to my left side with a treat and then reward her once she's in that position and we are walking with no tension on the leash. So that is the main portion of this part of the video. So I want to give you a little rundown on how I think Chaga's been doing. She is a very outgoing, courageous little girl. She does enjoy attention from other people, but it's not always her first thing that she's going for, which I personally like in a service dog prospect because I don't want them going up and greeting everybody, but I also don't want them to be afraid of people. Overall, our training is going well. She takes on to things really quickly. She's very excited to do things, always excited to learn new things, and she absorbs it really quickly. So here we're just working on some sitting down real quick. And then in a minute, we're gonna desensitize to a garbage can. Chaga. Good girl. What's this? So as you can see at first, Chaga is apprehensive, but she's not scared of it. So all I'm going to do is get her attention with some noises, lure her with a treat, or tapping on the object to it, and anytime she makes any interaction with it, whether that be looking, sniffing, or full-on touching the object, I'm going to reward her, tell her she's a good girl, give her lots of love. And that's basically how we make things that are a little startling a positive experience. And as you can see, she's right back to her bouncy self. We are also working on our leave it. It's definitely not solid at the moment, but it is a starting place. So anytime she goes to go for something that I don't want her to, I'm going to tell her, leave it, and let that tension that's on the leash sit until she returns her focus to me.
Good girl.
If for some reason I can't get her to return her focus, we're going to use the this way and change direction. And then we will just pass back, tie it, and wait and see if we can get past that object being more enticing than I am.
Good girl.
So there, she did a great job. I'm just luring her back into my left side.
Sit.
And she's getting a little overexcited. So as you can see, I just put my foot on the leash so I can have my hands free, being that I have a camera in my other hand, to get her to sit and refocus.
This way. Chaga.
Getting a little tangled, so again, we're just going to take a minute. We're going to work through this. Anytime there's tension on the leash, though, I'm either going to go on stop or just change direction and use those marker words to regain her attention.
Chaga. Sit.
So the big thing is that you always want to end things on a positive note. So some would probably find this very frustrating, having a dog bouncing around not paying attention. I find it to just be a great challenge where I can work through that distraction with a dog. So what we're doing now is we're desensitizing to the loud noises that washers and dryers make. And in general, they're a very large object that can be a little intimidating with dogs. So all I'm doing is getting her attention, kind of luring her, dropping the treats in front of the washer so she goes up and approaches it, see that it's no big deal. And eventually, I can get her to put her own nose up to it, and she interacts with it. Again, we just always make it a positive experience. That way, things that are a little intimidating, maybe they're a little apprehensive, become a positive, fun thing. So as you can see, she kind of jolted a little bit when it made that click close, and I just immediately went to making it positive.
Good girl. Good job.
So we're going to open it and close it one more time, and you're going to see her reaction is far less at that kind of level of apprehensiveness that she was at. Now, she didn't really seem to mind it being opened or closed. She's curious, but she's not, jumping. She's not backing up in fear or anything. And we're basically going to do the same thing here with the refrigerator, freezer, dishwasher, all of those things. They make a lot of weird noises, and everything is new to these guys. They have no idea what this stuff is. But as you can see, as I've said before, she's just apprehensive a little bit. But by the end of working through these things and introducing them to her, she's simply just curious about them, or even nonchalant.
Good job. Good girl. Good. Come. This way. Up, 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 up. Good girl. Can you sit? Good. Sit. Chaga. Ready? Sus. Good girl. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. Yeah, good job. This way. Good girl. Chaga.
So what you're going to see and hear in this next section is there is a forklift going off, making a lot of noise, and it definitely gets her attention. But all I'm going to do is give her lots of affection, get her attention, give her treats, make it positive. You're going to notice that that's kind of the theme of how we do things here at Lewis Manor.
This way.
We just like to make everything positive.
Chaga, this way. Good girl. Come on.
And as you can see, her body language isn't that of a fearful dog. It's just like, whoa, hey, what's going on? I'm curious. I want to see what this is. Her tail is, wagging in a rested upright position. That's kind of where her tail naturally sits. Her ears aren't tucked behind her head. And in general, she's not stiff, she's relaxed, she's not cowering.
If you'd like.
She's just your typical puppy. So what I'm doing here is getting Chaga used to kind of stepping on and staying on, and even laying on, my legs to mimic that deep pressure therapy that you guys hope to continue to do with her. At this point, she is nearing the end of her field trip, and she's getting a little overexcited, a little kind of at her end. So we're keeping it short and positive. But as you can see, she's squirming around a lot, and I want her to get used to kind of being held on to as if, I were in distress and I needed to hold her while she's on me for that sense of comfort and grounding. she is more than free to go whenever she's definitely had enough while we're doing this first session.
Ready?
But I wanted her to be comfortable with the fact that I was going to be also putting pressure on her, kind of petting her to try and mimic calming myself down in those moments. I think because Chaga is a very snuggly dog who just wants to be right beside you and wants to be on top of you almost all the time, that this can be shaped into a very beautiful, helpful task.
Good girl. Good job. Come here. Chaga. Up, up. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Good job. Good job. Okay.